Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to the Horror Movie Iceberg podcast, where myself and Russell Howe will watch disturbing horror movies until we tap out. And we're back with another series, I guess, even though it's only 2 movies. But we're covering our next series. Russell, how are you?
Good. Looking forward to tackling another series. It's nice to get out of. Well, we did a solo one last time with As Above, So Below, so it's nice to get away from the quarantine and Rex and get into something new. So looking forward to talking about Unfriended. It had been a while since I'd seen this one, so kind of looking forward to talking about it.
And like I said at the start of the month, Horror Movie Iceberg is taking over Fridays because it's the spooky season. So that's just what you do. But after this drops, we'll be covering Unfriended Dark Web, and then we'll be back to our normal schedule from there. But for the rest of the month, it's all Horror Movie Iceberg stuff. But with that out of the way, let us get into what we came to talk about. Let's boot up the old Skype. Rest in peace. Let's talk about Unfriended.
Why is he counting down?
This was directed by Levon Gabriez. Yeah, I'm not going to have any luck with this name. I'm sorry. I'll put it in the lower third here. And it tells the story of a group of teenagers who are just one night chatting over Skype. Just chatting over random things on Skype. But then they receive a message on their Skype call from someone who they think is dead, who unalived themselves a year ago, like on the day that they're doing this call. Well, they don't know for sure, but something is going wrong with their Skype, and it's not going to end well for them. So this is an interesting. These 2 movies are very interesting to me. It captured it was the first ones I ever saw of like the screen life style of horror. It would be refined and made better with the Anish Charganti movies Searching and Missing. I love both of those. Maybe we'll cover those one day. But in terms of screen life, I think this is where it started, and someone can please correct me if I'm wrong. But it's not the greatest, this movie, but I still have always enjoyed this movie. I think it definitely gives you the chills in places.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think this is one of those first ones that utilize the web like that. Like, obviously, Missing and Searching obviously would refine that and perfect that to the utmost. But this one definitely was I would say was the founding father of that, I would assume, because I don't remember seeing any of that kind of stuff, specifically taking place in a chat room or like via Facebook, extremely on Facebook and chat rooms the whole entire time. So, yeah, I think this was the first movie to do that, and it's crazy. It's been 10 years.
There have been like found footage kind of horror where it's like recovered footage, like The Last Broadcast, for example. There was one that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like a Halloween like local television broadcast that got corrupted and was made scary. It's all fictional, but it definitely. Said what?
Late Night with the Devil.
No, that was last year.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about back. Okay, never mind.
No, that one's very good too. But this one is another one where it takes place on Halloween night, and it's very it has like the local flavor of like it's local broadcast like TV, like that kind of style, but like scary things happen. I'll just leave it at that. And I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head. I watched it on the Cobwebs channel video. That's why I heard of it.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to get at is that found footage that is just recovered footage or like old like broadcast footage is nothing new. It's been done before. But in terms of screen life, it really begins right about here with the Unfriended movies. And I think the scariest part of the movie is that these friends you start off on their side, but then over the course of the movie, you're like, are you sure you're as innocent as you say? There's more or less an air of, I don't want you to die, but maybe apologizing would help.
Yeah, and I think the movie does a indirectly does a good job to point out like cyberbullying stuff like that. I guess if you could take a pro from the film, just with cyberbullying, the extents that it can lead to, how violent it can get if things are left, things are left unsaid or like problems are left unresolved, where how far it could go. So I do think in an aspect there, I think it is kind of in a way, I feel like there is a positive to take away from the film. I know it's kind of crazy to say that, but it's like one of those things where at the end of the film, it's like you kind of think about that. Obviously, being like, yeah, literally half my life removed from that, but from that, high school scene, but still, especially just nowadays, how prevalent it is with bullying and stuff like that. I think it's kind of still kind of, definitely relevant and always important.
Yeah, like I didn't use Skype a ton when I was growing up. I like when things shut down due to COVID, I was using Zoom all the time for a lot of reasons. So I'm more of like the Zoom era than like the Skype era. I used it for a few reasons, but I was never really a big proponent of it. But I still like there's still parts of it that did feel a little like weirdly nostalgic for, like certain sounds and like
Oh yeah,
alerts. I'm like, oh, I remember that. It's a
yeah.
weird thing to be like, oh, I remember that, but I just like I for sure remember that. And there were like Skype credits that I never understood how they worked, but that's how they worked.
Well, like our first method of like communicating, I think, was AOL Instant Messenger. That'll date me, so you can go ahead and take that for what it's worth. But obviously, as technology grew, Skype, I really started Skype, I would say, through like doing this kind of stuff. Skype, I would do like movie reviews or like movie trivia shows. I think all that in the last decade, kind of. I always did. That's where I did Skype, or I did Zoom, or I did Streamyard, or whatever, or what have you. I think I've done them all, and I think that's basically the outlet for what we use for movie reviews or like movie trivia and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is a lot. It's evolved a lot, and it's really interesting to see how the technology has evolved. I think my favorite performance of this movie, if I had to choose, it would probably go to the main girl. I think that she starts out the most sympathetic, but again, by the end, like I feel like even though the movie's 10 years old, I still don't want to give away too much because
Yeah.
the entity that's corrupting this Skype call has a lot to do with what's going on with them, like and them specifically. It's very much a you reap what you sow kind of thing, but I don't want to give too much away. But the main girl, who's named Blair, is played by Shelley Hennig, and I thought she was the best part.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so too. Everybody else, I felt like they were like kind of cookie cutter, your picturesque, like who they were trying to be. Like you had a like drunk, like jock kid. You had the other like blonde ditzy girl, and then you had your like what? You had your like high school like skank or whatever. That other girl that they brought in on a chat. But yeah, no, I thought Blair was the best part of the film. I think she just ensues so much, like she just like really portrays a lot of different emotions. Like she's you know at the beginning like happy, sad, like like she's already planning to like sleep with her boyfriend for prom night and all this other stuff, so they have like plans, you know what I mean, and then like you see obviously trouble ensues, and then you kind of like kind of like what you said, you reap what you sow type thing. You kind of get the gist of, you kind of obviously understand where the film's going to go right there at the beginning of the film. You kind of know where it's going, so I don't think anything really comes as a surprise. Like what's in story is like kind of a surprise, so you got to kind of just go with it.
Yeah, like I said, but the things just it like one thing's revealed after another, after another, after another, and like just like you just want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Like you take that red pill like in the Matrix, and you just want to see how deep it goes. And so, like I said, not necessarily original, but you also kind of want to see where it ends up. I feel like, and this might be a weird comparison, but here goes. It kind of reminded me of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I can see where obviously what you did in the past comes up and haunts you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you could definitely through parallels of that.
bunch of
Um,
teens do something regrettable and then like bad things happen to them. I feel like it's not direct comparison.
yeah,
I know
but I
what
mean,
you did
definitely
last summer's
similar.
slasher. This is found footage. There's a difference there.
Yeah, definitely similar. Obviously, it deals with a group of friends. Obviously, something happening and keeping secrets. Secrets amongst the friends. I think the best part of this, obviously, is the "Never Have I Ever" game towards the end of the film. I think that's like the most eye-opening, just with secrets between friends, things that happen between friends, things that were said, not said. And I think that's where it really draws light to, like, how well do you know your friends? I think that's like, I think probably the best part of the film is when it gets to that.
Yeah, can't agree with you more. And I think at the end of the day, this is definitely the screen life subgenre would get a lot better, but this is a solid start. I'm going to give this a good rating. It's adequately gives you the heebie-jeebies. The performances are pretty solid in my opinion. It's not the most remarkable thing in the world, but I do give them credit for making what you're looking at now, like a Skype call, actually scary in places. I think that takes talent, and so I think that should not be overlooked.
Yeah, and I also like the way that they did things where it's like the picture's not perfect. It's kind of muddled and it's kind of like bad internet connection, and you're wondering what's happening on the other side of that bad internet connection or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of cool. That adds suspense as you're watching it. So I think that's really cool in itself. And obviously, yeah, as technology has bloomed in the last 10 years since this film came out, obviously, like as you got to see later on, years down the road, you saw searching, you saw missing, you saw how it really refined and fine tooth combed everything else with that that type of film setup. So yeah, this one's good enough film. Like I said, it keeps you on the edge of your feet, or the edge of your seat, I should say. You are wondering how this is going to fold out. Like you're wondering, what's going to be found out as they're playing these games. Like, is there going to be some kind of resolution? Like, you do wonder. So, I mean, I think it does a good enough job keeping you. It's a short run film. You got 80 minutes in the bank on this one, like an hour and 20 minutes. And like I said, I think the movie goes by rather quick. There's definitely a lot of I've read reviews on it. Like it was kind of like they were, I don't know, basically like trashing it. Like it's got it. Horror films always get bashed on, IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like, but I think it does enough. And obviously, it definitely, paved the way for films like Missing and Searching to come out. So I thought that this was important enough in that retrospect. Um,
Like
yeah,
in a way, this is like the last broadcast, how the last broadcast walked so Blair Witch could run, if that
yeah,
makes any sense.
yeah.
But I passed off to all of you. What did you think of Unfriended? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And Russell, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, Notorious by Chance is the Facebook group podcast. You guys can find us there. YouTube, Notorious by Chance as well. We have content up there with football. If you're into football, check that out. And yeah, you guys can find us at NBC Podcast on X and TikTok as well.
Yep, all the links down below. Russell will be back next Friday. We'll be talking about Unfriended Dark Web, which is a much better movie than this one. Now, again, it's not bad, but Dark Web took the premise to where it should have gone from the beginning. But we'll save that for next week. For Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one.